The Galactic Council chamber had seen every kind of warship imaginable. Crystal carriers from the Vari Dominion floated beside black iron dreadnoughts of the Korok Empire. Living bioships from the Thal Collective pulsed gently in their docking cradles. Thousands of commanders watched from orbit as Earth arrived for the emergency summit. And then the laughter began. Humanity had sent only one warship. It emerged from hyperspace with a low metallic hum, its hull scarred by old battles and painted a dull gray instead of ceremonial colors. No escort fleet followed. No carrier group. No swarm of fighters. Just a single vessel. UNS Resolute. Admiral Cassian Reyes stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back as the alien transmissions flooded in. Is this a diplomatic courier? Perhaps the humans misunderstood the invitation. One ship against the Korok invasion fleet? This is absurd. The Korok commander, Warlord Vexor, broadcast openly to every system in the sector. Humans, you have brought a museum relic to a war. Surrender now, and we may allow your species to remain a protectorate. More laughter echoed through the network. Reyes did not respond immediately. He simply watched the tactical display. Beyond the council station, the Korok fleet hung in formation, 300 battleships, 9 carriers, and over 12,000 strike craft. Against them stood one human warship. Lieutenant Mara Chin stepped closer. Sir, they're requesting our surrender code. Reyes smiled faintly. Send them our reply. Chin hesitated. The 7-word response? Exactly. The transmission spread across every military channel in the sector. You have 10 minutes to leave peacefully. The silence lasted less than a second before the entire Korok command network erupted in ridicule. Vexor leaned toward his holocamera, tusked face twisted with amusement. One ship threatens an empire? Reyes finally answered, his voice calm enough to unsettle anyone listening. No, Warlord. One ship is offering mercy. The countdown began. 10 minutes. Across the council station, alien officers continued laughing, placing wagers on how quickly the human vessel would be destroyed. No one noticed the Resolute's reactor output climbing. No one noticed the hidden weapon ports opening along its scarred hull. And no one realized that the oldest ship in the sector was about to change galactic history forever. The timer appeared on every command screen across the battlefield. 9:59, 9:58, 9:57. Most of the galaxy treated it as a joke. Inside the Galactic Council station, diplomats laughed openly. Analysts predicted that the human ship would survive less than 30 seconds once the Korok fleet opened fire. Reporters eagerly prepared headlines announcing humanity's first great military humiliation. Only aboard the UNS Resolute was there complete silence. Admiral Cassian Reyes stood motionless on the bridge, watching the countdown without a trace of concern. Around him, every crew member performed their duty with calm precision. Quantum reactor stable. Gravity core synchronized. Aegis defensive grid standing by. Helios batteries charged to 100%. Lieutenant Marachin glanced toward the Admiral. 8 minutes remaining, sir. Reyes nodded. Maintain course. Far across the battlefield, Warlord Vexor grew impatient. Advance the fleet. 300 Korok warships surged forward in perfect formation. Behind them came thousands of strike craft, their engines burning crimson as they surrounded the lone human vessel from every direction. To every observer, the battle was already over. The countdown continued. 6:41, 6:40. Then something strange happened. Long-range scanners began reporting impossible readings. Unknown energy spike detected. Source: the human ship. Impossible. Their reactor output is exceeding known military limits. Another officer interrupted. It's still increasing. The Council's greatest scientists hurried to their consoles. The numbers made no sense. A ship of the Resolute's size shouldn't have possessed that much power. Its energy signature rivaled an entire battle group. Vexor dismissed the reports with a wave of his massive hand. Scanners malfunction under stress. Continue the attack. The fleet advanced. Inside the Resolute, Chief Engineer Sophia Malik smiled as ancient systems awakened beneath the ship's armored decks. Massive conduits glowed with brilliant blue light. Forgotten weapon chambers unlocked one after another. Deep within the hull, a classified artificial intelligence activated for the first time in decades. A calm mechanical voice echoed through the bridge. Project Leviathan online. Primary weapons synchronized. Probability of mission success, 99.8%. Several younger officers exchanged surprised looks. Even they had never known the ship carried systems like these. Reyes finally spoke. Humanity hid its strongest weapons because peace was always our first choice. He looked toward the massive enemy fleet filling the stars. But some civilizations only understand strength. The timer reached its final minute. 0:59, 0:58. Across the battlefield, the Korak Armada powered its weapons, preparing to erase the lone human ship. No one noticed that every targeting system aboard the Resolute had already locked onto every enemy vessel simultaneously. The 10 minutes were almost over, and the galaxy was about to discover why humanity had arrived with only one warship. The final seconds disappeared from the battlefield. 0:10. The Korak fleet prepared for victory. Thousands of weapons aimed at one target. One human ship. One impossible mistake. 0:05. Across the galaxy, millions watched the live transmission. Alien civilizations expected to witness the destruction of humanity's pride. 0:03. Warlord Vexer smiled. 0:02. The UNS Resolute remained completely still. 0:01. Then the timer reached 0. For a moment, nothing happened. The galaxy held its breath. And then the human warship fired. Not hundreds of weapons. Not thousands. Just one. A single beam of blue-white energy crossed the battlefield faster than any scanner could track. It struck the Korak command carrier directly at its core. The explosion was silent at first. Then every sensor in the sector went dark. The largest warship in the Korak fleet, a vessel considered impossible to destroy, broke apart into thousands of burning fragments. The entire galaxy watched in disbelief. The human ship had destroyed the enemy flagship with one shot. But that was only the beginning. Multiple enemy targets locked, the AI announced. Admiral Reyes gave a simple command. Disable, don't destroy. The Resolute moved. For the first time, alien observers understood something terrifying. The human ship was not slow. It had been holding back. The ancient warship accelerated with impossible speed, sliding between enemy formations as its defensive systems absorbed incoming fire. Korak weapons struck the human shields. Nothing happened. Their strongest cannons, designed to break planetary defenses, barely weakened the blue energy barrier surrounding the ship. How is this possible? One Korak commander shouted. Our weapons are ineffective. The answer was simple. The UNS Resolute was not built like modern alien warships. It was created during humanity's forgotten wars, when Earth had fought alone against enemies far more dangerous than the Korak Empire. The galaxy had spent centuries believing humans were weak because they never revealed their true military history. Now they were learning the truth. The human fleet had not disappeared. It had been waiting. Inside the council station, laughter had completely vanished. The same aliens who mocked humanity were now silent, watching one ship dismantle an entire armada. Marachin stared at the tactical display. Admiral, the Korak fleet is retreating. Reyes looked at the enemy formation. No. He shook his head. They are not retreating. The pause. They are running. The Korak Empire had conquered hundreds of civilizations. They had defeated species that possessed technology beyond anything humanity had shown. But today, for the first time in recorded history, the galaxy's greatest military power was afraid. Because one human warship had just proven something impossible. A single ship could defeat an empire. And the battle had only lasted 3 minutes. The battlefield had become something no one in the galaxy believed possible. A Korak armada was running. Not regrouping. Not strategically withdrawing. Running. Thousands of ships that had once brought fear to entire civilizations were now desperately escaping from a single human warship. Across the Galactic Council station, commanders stared at their screens in complete silence. The impossible had happened. Humanity had not sent a fleet. Humanity had sent a warning. Inside the UNS Resolute, Admiral Cassian Reyes watched the enemy ships disappear into hyperspace. "Should we pursue them, sir?" Lieutenant Mara Chen asked. Reyes shook his head. "No." The bridge became quiet. "Why?" The Admiral looked at the stars ahead. "Because the goal was never destruction." He paused. The goal was making sure they understood. But the galaxy wanted answers. How could one human ship defeat an empire that controlled thousands of worlds? The question reached the highest levels of power. 3 hours later, the Korak Emperor himself appeared through a secured communication channel. Emperor Varkal was a figure feared throughout known space. His empire stretched across dozens of sectors, and his armies had never known defeat. But now his expression was different. Not anger. Not pride. Fear. "Human Admiral," the Emperor said slowly, "what are you?" Reyes remained silent. Varkal continued. "Our archives contain no record of humanity possessing technology like this." "Because you were never meant to see it," Reyes replied. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Reyes looked toward the massive windows of the bridge. "Long ago, humanity learned a painful lesson. Every civilization that becomes too powerful eventually attracts enemies that want to control it." The Admiral's voice became colder. "So Earth made a choice. We stopped showing our strength." The Emperor said nothing. "The ships you know as human explorers, traders, and research vessels." Reyes looked directly at him. "They were never our strongest ships." The transmission room went completely silent. The truth spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. The UNS Resolute was not humanity's greatest weapon. It was an old ship. A forgotten ship. A ship that had been sitting in reserve for generations. And if an old human warship could defeat an entire empire, what did humanity's true fleet look like? Emperor Varkal's confidence disappeared. "How many ships like this exist?" For the first time, Admiral Reyes smiled. "That is the question everyone asks." The pause. "And the answer is why we hoped nobody would ever need to know." Across the galaxy, ancient human signals began awakening. Hidden stations came online. Long-abandoned shipyards activated. Deep space facilities opened their massive doors after centuries of silence. The galaxy had mistaken humanity's silence for weakness. Now they were discovering the truth. Humanity was not unprepared. Humanity was restrained. They were wrong. The truth began spreading across every communication network. The UNS Resolute was not humanity's ultimate weapon. It was a warning shot. A single aging warship had forced the most powerful empire in known space to surrender. And now everyone wanted to know one thing. What else was humanity hiding? The answer arrived 12 hours later. Every major telescope in the galaxy detected the same impossible event. Deep within unexplored space, ancient human shipyards awakened. Massive structures hidden inside asteroids opened their armored gates. Silent orbital factories powered up after centuries of darkness. One by one, enormous warships emerged. Not hundreds, not thousands, but enough to make every alien commander forget how to breathe. The galaxy saw battleships larger than cities. Carriers capable of deploying entire fleets. Defense platforms that could protect entire planets. The human fleet had not disappeared. It had been sleeping. On the Galactic Council station, the same leaders who had laughed at humanity now watched in complete silence. The Korak Emperor returned to the communication channel. This time, there was no arrogance in his voice. Only respect. "Human Admiral, why did you hide this power?" Admiral Cassian Reyes looked at the stars outside the bridge. "Because power is not measured by how many enemies you can destroy." He paused. "It is measured by how many times you choose not to." Those words traveled across the galaxy. For the first time, other civilizations saw humanity differently. Not as a weak species. Not as a young species. But as a civilization that had reached incredible strength and still chose restraint. The Korak Empire officially ended its invasion plans. Their surrender was broadcast throughout every sector. The message was short: humanity is not to be challenged. But Earth did not demand territory. It did not demand revenge. Instead, humanity offered something unexpected: protection. A chance for every civilization to stand together. Years later, historians would look back on that day as the moment the galaxy changed forever. They remembered the laughter. They remembered the arrogance. They remembered the single human ship that entered enemy space alone. And they remembered the 10 minutes that changed everything. Because the galaxy learned the greatest lesson of all. Never judge a civilization by the weapons it shows you. Judge it by the power it chooses to hide. And when the universe finally asked humanity what it truly was, Earth gave a simple answer: we are the ones who stayed silent until silence was no longer an option.